Bismillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So we're doing this masla here of uh, the wali has got the authority to marry of the small boy and the small girl, whether she is a virgin or a non-virgin, as long as she's small. And then Imam Shafi'i often said that besides the father and grandfather, nobody else can do it. And Imam Malik Ahmed said, besides the father, nobody else can do that there. Right. So now we did the dalils already. Now our dalil. ولنا أن القرابة داعية إلى النظر كما في الأبي والجد. Our dalil is that being a close relative invites towards compassion, just as in the father and the grandfather. You understand it? That why does the father and grandfather have the authority to marry the small ones off? Because they've got that compassion, right? So we say the other relatives also got that compassion. وما فيه من القصور أظهرنا في سلب ولاية الإلزام. And whatever is in them, in the other relatives, right? From deficiency in compassion, we have made it apparent in taking away wilayatul ilzam. What does this mean? This means that if the other relatives marry the small boy and small girl, then when they become baligh, they got the option to opt out. Whereas if the father and grandfather to marry them off, then they don't have that option to wilayatul ilzam. They don't have wilayatul marry them off now, but then there's those children will become baligh. They've got the right to opt out, right? Then we answer now the why. The question against us was that why don't you allow this then? If they you won't allow them to transact in the children's wealth, they don't have the right. So we say خلاف التصرف في المال, contrary to transacting in wealth, لأنه يتكرر, because it is repeated. What it means here is that when they transact in the wealth of the child, then that wealth, you can't reverse that transaction, because that wealth, they sold something for the child. Then that person sold it to somebody else, and that person sold it to somebody, and then the thing got destroyed. By the time this child becomes baligh, he can't retrieve all those things. You understand it? So فَلَا يُمْكِنُ تَدَارُكُ الْخَلَلِ. So making up for the deficiency is not possible. فَلَا تُفِيدُ الْوِلَايَةُ إِلَّا مُلْزِمَةً. So the authority will not give benefit except when it makes binding. In other words, when it comes to the transacting over the wealth, you can only use wilayatul ilzam there. So that is the father and the grandfather. You understand it? Who can do a transaction for the child because they've got wilayatul ilzam. They can. You understand it? Because, and the reason for that is because you can't make up. You can't make up the loss if there was a loss. But in the case of the nikah, you can make up the loss in the sense where they become baligh, they can opt out, but not in the case of the wealth. Right. وَمَعَ الْقُصُورِ لَا يَثْبُتُ وِلَايَةُ الْإِلْزَامِ. And with this deficiency that the other relatives have in compassion, the wilayat of ilzam is not established for them. You understand it? So they've got wilayat so they can forcefully marry of the small boy and small girl, because they don't have wilayat, because you can't make up for a loss there. You understand it? Right. وجه قوله في المسألة الثانية أن الثيابة سبب لحدوث الرأي لوجود الممارسة. Right. Now the reason of Imam Shafi rahmatullah's qawl in the second masla, you understand it? Is that being a virgin is a means to bring forward an opinion due to the existence of experience. Now remember what Imam Shafi'i said here. He said, وَشَافِعُ فِي غَيْرِ الْأَبِي وَالْجَدِّ, right? وَفِي سَيْبِ الصَّغِيرَةِ أيضا. Right. So Imam Shafi Rahmanullah, he says, besides the father and grandfather, nobody else has got the authority to marry of this boy and girl, right? And also they don't have the authority over the Tayyibi Saghira. You understand it? The Tayyiba Saghira. So he says there that since she's a Tayyiba, right, that already gave her a certain amount of opinion. Why? Because she's already got experience. So you can't forcefully marry her. Because although she's small, but because she's a Tayyiba, she's got experience, so you can't still forcefully marry her. فأدرنا الحكم عليها تيسيرا. So we have revolved the ruling upon it. Upon what? Upon but upon being a Saiba to make it easy. You understand? So what he's saying basically that since she's a Saiba, she's got experience, so you can't forcefully marry her off. Right. No, we say a Saiba, we work Saghira and Kabira. You can't forcefully marry Kabira, you can forcefully marry Saghira. You understand it? And he works with Saiba and Bakira. You understand it? Right. ولنا ما ذكرنا من تحقق الحاجة ووفور الشفقة. Our dalil is what we have mentioned from the realization of the need. There's a need to marry of the small girl. Even if she is a Tayyiba, there's a need to marry her off, right? And the full compassion of the father and the grandfather, right? ولا ممارسة تحدث رأي بدون الشهوة. And there will be no experience which will give about an opinion without desire. In other words, we're telling Imam Shafi, you can't say that she's got experience and now she can form her own opinion because she doesn't have shahwat. So that experience means nothing. You understand it? Because she doesn't have shahwat. You understand it? فَيُدَارُ الْحُكْمُ عَلَى الصِّغَرِ. So the ruling will be revolved upon small age. But finish. If she's a small girl, whether she's a Bakira or Taiba, you can, because they don't have shahaya before the bulugh. ثم الذي يؤيد كلامنا فيما تقدم قوله عليه السلام النكاح إلى العصبات من غير فصل. Then that which assists our opinion in that which preceded is Nabi Karim statement, then nikah is to the asabat without any distinction, min ghayri faslin, without any distinction between the other relatives and the father and the grandfather, etc. So the hadith is clear. Nikahu ila al-asabat. Those are asabat, the male relatives. You understand it? So that will include all the asabat, all the male relatives. So they become the wali. وَالتَّرْتِيبُ فِي الْعَصَبَاتِ فِي وِلَايَةِ النِّكَاحِ كَالتَّرْتِيبِ فِي الْإِرْثِ. And the sequence in asabat, in the authority of nikah, is like the sequence in inheritance. Just as in inheritance, the stronger asaba will get the inheritance before that, same tertib will be in the nikah, the right of marrying of the small boy and small girl. Well, yeah, yeah. That goes next, yeah, yeah. You understand? There was ikhtilaf there in that masala. We did it, I think, isn't? That if the wali akrab is far away, then the wali abad got the right to marry off. So there's some ikhtilaf in explanation. How far away you can't get to him? When can you get to him? You understand it, right? Well, abadu mahjubun bil aqrabi. And the further asaba is deprived because of the closer asaba. You understand it? Right. فَإِنْ زَوَّجَهُمَ الْأَبُو أَوِ الْجَدُّ. Let's just do another one. فإن زوج الأب أو الجد يعني الصغيرة والصغيرة فلا خيار لهما بعد بلوغهما. Then if the father, grandfather marries them off, that's a small boy and small girl, then there is no choice for them after them becoming bulugh. لأنهما كامل الرأي وافر الشفقة, because these two have full opinion and they have complete shafaqah, complete compassion. فيلزم العقد بمباشرتهما كما إذا باشره برضائهما بعد البوشن. Just as if when they did the transaction with the happiness of the two after they became baligh. So basically that transaction is done. They don't have a choice once they become baligh to opt out. That's what it means. Who's this? The father